Welcome to Inner Peace with Dr. Reese, a program that can help you become liberated in the modern world. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kevin W. Reese.
Is a large-scale awakening happening as the historic year 2020 comes to a close? Welcome to episode number 78. Today, I'm talking to Christine Boyle. She's a holistic nutritionist, healer, and third-generation psychic. And she claims that there is a large awakening happening, a rebirthing. In this conversation, we're going to talk about her experiences and how she is opening up her window to the galaxies. We're going to talk about the pineal gland, releasing fear and anxiety, and her moment of great surrender just a few years ago. So sit down or lay down, relax, and take in this recording. Welcome to the podcast, Christine.
Thank you for having me.
So, are we going through a large-scale awakening or what?
There's no words. The only word that comes up is magic. Magic. Kev, I never could have ever imagined this massive awakening and ascension going on. I prayed about it. I cried about it. But this is just biblical. It's biblical.
Biblical.
I will tell you that this year, 2020, for I would say a good majority of the human species is awakened. I would say anywhere 50 to 60% now, and it keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And they're feeling things. They're feeling different. And they're starting to see things and hear things. And it's so powerful, and how we can see the divide, and we could see that darkness, and we can see the light, and we can actually see, and I don't even know, like the Matrix is not even a word for it, but I still can't put my finger on what we've been living. And I'm asking. And so this is what I'm working on now. I'm really getting into specifics and details, and the force of it, and the light and the power within has just been off the charts. And I don't even really feel like I'm here anymore, And it's so beautiful. And that's why I'm crying, because to go from living that hell, all of us, that darkness, and in that pain and that suffering, to know that we are free. We are free now. There's nothing in our way. And this whole pandemic this year in 2020 was so biblical and so powerful that it can only come from the Creator, to see how we have all been slowed down. We have all been focusing in. And whether you like it or not, a lot of people are being triggered. They don't want to go within. They're still blaming, and they're still in rage. But the whole process of it, that's what I'm so amazed about. Like the whole process of watching everybody as healers, Kevin, that we are, like watching people living out their journeys, and watching people in rage, and then people flying like we are, and people connecting to source and their power and their truth. I'm just overwhelmed. I've always been a psychic. I'm a third generation, and probably fourth, fifth, who knows. But I've always had psychic abilities. I always knew I was very different. I'm very sensitive, just a whole bunch of things. People right now, like a lot, even my family members can't be around me. It's too much. It's too bright. It's too freaky. It's too sci-fi. It's all this stuff. And I just thank you, God and Source, that I have been able to be alone for about 4 months now, 5 months. And as you know, this is when we do our deepest healing and ascension. And I started to ask, like, where are we going? And well, that same night, we have to be very careful, and you know this, of what we ask and what we're seeking. So that night I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel through whatever, where we are, where we're going. And I wanted to know, like, what's coming? Is this the end? Is this it? Are we leaving these bodies? Are we staying in these bodies and just going to a higher consciousness? Is the whole world rebirth? All these questions. Well, Kevin, I'm telling you, within seconds of closing my eyes with my crystal, my Vogel crystal, and I prayed about it. And I'm telling you, I didn't even go into that sleep, and I start flying through galaxies, like flying so fast. And it was beautiful. I mean, colors and just stars, and it was powerful. And I was like, whoa. And I literally jolted myself out of the bed just to stop it, because I couldn't do it. It was so powerful. And so I woke up and I was like, holy shoot. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? And
well, it's a experience that Dr. Morse talks about on episode 49 on this podcast. That happened to him as well. So there you go.
Oh God, it was crazy. I mean, it was all beautiful, nothing dark, nothing bad, but it was just the force of it.
Yeah.
And it was fast. And I was like, so I woke up and I just started flipping out a little bit and like laughing, crying, like all sorts of things. A lot of emotions came up. And then I finally fell back asleep. And the next day I had so many messages coming in. Like my head was so full, and I had like a slight headache, and it was so many messages. And the message is that we are heading in. First of all, a lot of biblical truth is coming. And nobody here in this physical 3D body is going to show this truth. This truth that is coming, and we're already seeing it, some of it, but it's coming. And it's coming from Source. I call God. I'm sorry. That's just so it's coming, and we will never, ever go back to anything from our past. And all the systems are dissolving now. All the dark systems, everything is going to be rebirthed. The whole earth.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've had a really developmental last year. So when we got locked down March 2020 with the pandemic, is that when you really went within yourself?
I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to dig deeper now and really connect in order to be where we are today. And it was miracle after miracle. And so everything that's come to me now, I had this PDF and I said, okay. So working one-on-one was, and remember I said to you, Kevin, how come you're not working? Like, what's going on? Like, and I couldn't understand it. Right. And I'm like, my goodness, it's ridiculous working one-on-one now. This is biblical. This is massive. I got to get to the masses now. Right. So everything changed. I connected. I said, look, I'm ready. Give me anything and everything I need to do. And it's been every single day. It's been magic and miracles for me. Every single day. There's not one day that I don't connect and receive. And I'm just in a total portal, totally opened up my crown and got rooted and really like, look, I would have never survived it, the old sick Christine, if I hadn't really been a seeker, and just got really quiet. And it wasn't even about meditation and yoga and stuff. It wasn't even about that. It was just all of a sudden everything was a knowing and a remembrance and a resonance. And I could just sit here before, I was listening to one of your podcasts and your story, and you just tune things out, and you're just in this, you're not here. And even now when I wake up in the morning, I'm not really here. Like, I'm here, but all I do is observe everything. And I could see right through people. I could feel their pain. I'm an empath. I could see it all. I could see the darkness trying to play with me. And that's how I work now. I work with people's energies, the dark energies. And we dissolve these energies. So it really brought me to like a high level. So a couple of weeks ago in this group, I started asking questions, and the question was, and I have my tarot cards, and the readings are profound. Every person that I pulled a card for, including my daily card for myself, is right on point. Like, there's no mistakes. So I pulled a card a couple of weeks ago, and it was the death card. I want to say it was on November 11th, or it was on a profound day too. It was the death card. Okay. And this is what I want everybody out there that's listening to this. The timelines are merging, and that's why we're feeling all of this chaos, right? The timelines merge, and then all of a sudden we have a new birthing, we have a rebirthing, and everybody's on their different journeys, and everybody's on their different timelines. But the bottom line is, it's time now for us to go within. No more looking outside of yourself for anything. You go within, you take whatever little magic is coming in, you open up to source, you call in your guides, your masters, just like we did, right? We called in Morse, we called in OSHO, we called in everybody. Everybody's bringing something to the table now, and we have to have a funeral for that old person. The old Christine, I had a funeral for her, and she's gone. I don't have any idea. That's why it's hard for me when I think back. I laugh because I don't know who that person was. So, and we're all being rebirthed now. This is the rebirthing. So this year is so profound. So next year we're going to be ready for what's to come, and you have to be strong. You have to have a strong physical body if you plan on staying here, and you have to release the fears and the anxiety and the panic attacks and the control, because we are free, and we are free to speak. And there's nothing there. There's nothing there anymore. I used to be so worried about even saying the word, I'm a healer. I could heal you, or we can heal, or, watching what we're saying on social media because we're going to be censored. Who cares? You know what I do now with them? I do light my sage, and I have sessions with them because they can hear us. Right now they're listening to us, and they could see us. And some people have Siri, and some people, even your TVs can see you, the smart TVs, and hear you. So we are healing the collective, Kevin. You, me, and the millions of healers and light workers now are lighting up this world, lighting up these poor souls. A lot of them are surrendering. A lot of them are dying. And a lot of them are staying right where they are, and they're going down. Further, further, further down with the darkness. And it's dismantling, and it's dispersing. So that's what's happening right now in a nutshell.
So you just said that you were listening to episode 42, the one with Vishrant?
Well, no, the one of you. It was your story, your ascension, your awakening.
Episode 70?
It was 70 then, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I had listened to that Vishrant 42, and then I just listened to the last episode, which was profound. So, Kev, it's weird. It's so weird. Like, now I'm getting messages from OSHO. I'm getting messages from OSHO.
And you just got introduced to him recently from listening to... You interviewed me on your Instagram, and I briefly told my story, and OSHO was part of my story, right? So there was that. And then...
No, there was, remember when you and I connected, I don't know how long, see, time, I have no concept of time, but
right.
You and I connected and we had a conversation before the video, before the Instagram.
Okay.
And you told me about Osho.
Mm-hmm.
And remember I said, oh, can you send me something? So I started weeks and weeks ago just tuning into him a little bit.
Okay.
And Sadhguru too. I love him.
Right.
You know, I really enjoy listening to him. And so I've been really listening, but it didn't. So there's these timelines now for all of us, and Osho came in. So it's been profound that how we, earlier this year, I said, enough. I want to bring people in my life right now. I need masters. I need shamans. I need to be lifted up, as opposed to being on the other side and working this way and getting drained, right? Because how draining that is, right? As a healer. And so I was so drained, and I was always trying to force things to work in businesses and partners and all of this. And then all of a sudden the voice said, you are all that you are seeking. You are everything that you need, and stop looking outside of yourself. And this came in loud. And then you and I connected, and I was so blown away at your whole essence. Everything about you changed, everything.
Yeah. Summer
And
2018.
it was magical. And so you sort of came in when I called in masters and guides to help me ascend now. And you showed up, and then all of a sudden you're sharing your gifts, like we just keep sharing our gifts. And that's what I'm doing in the group now. I'm just sharing the gifts. And
and then you heard episode 72 with Veena, who lived with Osho for 19 years. And so that was a profound episode. For a lot of people are contacting me about that right now.
that was so profound. And I want to talk about that, because when we're listening to you, to Osho, to any master, there's always a reason why we connected, and you're listening, and there's going to be reasons why people are listening to us. And so many questions were answered during that episode with her. Like you were so like in it with her, and so like it was almost like, did you feel like I felt like I was there in that home with them? Like I felt it. I felt that powerful energy. And I just said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I connected with all three of you, and it was like, wow. And I started asking questions. And the whole fascinating thing with me, like ever since I was little and I could remember, I was always, I didn't want to eat. And of course we found out, we know why. When you eat, when your body shows up and you're nauseous and you have no appetite, it's because the body needs to heal. That's the bottom line. And that's fact and truth. And that's just a knowing. Yeah. And so, but I couldn't understand. It didn't click with me. Like, how could you fly? What is this feeling when you don't eat and drink? How could I lose 5 pounds within 48 hours without eating or going to the bathroom? Where is it going? And in that video, I asked in that podcast, I said, Osho, like, and it just, I didn't even have to get the words out. The answer just came, and it was like magic. It was like magic and energy. That's energy. That's the force. That's the power we have when we disconnect from anything that doesn't really serve us. Prana is the way to live. We don't need food. And just everything just started to click, and all my questions. So thank you. Thank you for.
Yeah. We all have an energy field, and the more we ascend, the bigger it gets. And that's what they call in ancient times a Buddha field, which is what Osho had. And so if Veena, who sat in his presence for years and years and years, you get high from someone else's energy. And I guess that's what happened to me from listening to all his recordings.
So another thing that came out of that was, and just you as being the master of your calmness now, and your focus in, and your awareness.
Yeah, I mean, things have changed for sure. But as well for you. So just a few years ago, you were suffering with, I mean, back in the day, you were suffering real bad. Then you turned it around with Dr. Morse and, you know, holistic protocols and whatnot, healing protocols, fruits and herbs, fasting. And then a few years ago, you were suffering with Morgellons.
So I've been very hyperactive the past couple of years. And it seems like it started really bad when I had gotten that Morgellons. And that was another part of my ascension. And for all of you guys out there, it's another part of the awakening. I haven't really given it much thought, but it really, that whole, because that's when I dropped to my knees and, you know, trying to figure out what it was, because I was on a grape fast. And the darn thing, I mean, I started getting rashes and really bad pain, and like, I knew something was wrong, but I thought I was releasing toxicity. You know, I think I was on a week or 2 or 3 week fast, and the grapes and the lemons, and you know how powerful that is with the herbs. And I couldn't get rid of it. And I contacted Robert and I said, listen, I don't know what's going on. He's like, well, all right, stop taking the herbs. And I'm like, okay. So I stop all the herbs. He goes, a week later, same. He goes, okay, start eating cooked. Started eating cooked. Nothing. 6 months later, I was misdiagnosed. Just crazy stuff. Like, I went through hell. I really think it was the final initiation of my physical body healing, because it was so, Kevin. So I knew when I fell to my knees and I prayed, and like you said, when you're at that rock bottom, it's just, it's a meeting. You become one with your creator. And I fell to my knees and I looked up in the corner of the room and I can see an image, and I started screaming. And I said, why? Why is this happening to me, God? Why? Please help me, help me. And I was either going to go down, I was either going to die, or I was going to ascend. And that's all I remember. And I just remember waking up the next morning and being led with miracle after miracle. And that was in 2018. It started in July of 2017. So 2018, January was my major impact. Like, and I've had a lot of, what do you call this? Satori's, right?
Satori's is what it's called in the Zen tradition.
Okay. So I had already had several of those, but then I got hit with this. So when I ask about it now, looking back, it was just, I had to experience that. So now I'm at the point where I'm trying to calm myself. And for the past year, I'm seeing 9/11 and I'm feeling the urgency. And I was really like earlier this year, I was just trying to like wake people up, you know, and like, do you see? And I was out of my mind, and I felt like urgency and like, we got to do this. We got to do that. And so now I'm going through, and thank you, because OSHO and you and Veena, like, this is all about calming down the mind, calming down the soul. And yes, you're good. You're here. You're in. You're ascending. You're a master. You're connect with self. Get back. Breathe, and just become the observer now.
That's the path of a mystic. Is to just be calm and let things happen how they're going to happen. So as Vishrant would say, everything unfolds perfectly. So if you know that everything unfolds perfectly, you just let it unfold perfectly, even if it's considered quote unquote bad.
And I healed myself. I called every master in my life. I called everybody when I had that horrible virus, and no one could help me. And that's when I knew I had to fall to my knees and connect. I knew it.
This is surrendering.
I totally surrendered.
Well, that's the whole trick to the whole thing. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about surrendering and letting go, as Osho would call it. He used to call it let go. He used to call it that like it's an event. It's a let go. And of course, that's what happened to me in June 2018 is just a massive, like, I don't care about this anymore. I don't need to be, you know, a notorious holistic healer online anymore. I don't need that. And I just want to be alone. Right. And then that's when everything started happening, listening to Osho, because he kills you. He murders you. If you listen, it's happening to a friend of mine right now, Keisha, who is on the first whatever episodes of this podcast. Now, because the Veena episode opened all these people up. I can't tell you how many people are contacting me like, oh, I'm buying his audiobooks. I'm buying his books now because I heard that episode. I'm like, okay, well, you can do that, but are you prepared to be completely assaulted? Because that's what's going to happen. Because he's just going to hit you with a hammer over and over and over again, even though he's been dead for 30 years. And that's what happens. So she's programmed with the Christian programming. And so now, you know, she's being taken apart little by little, and she's noticing it. She's like, oh my God, I was taught this, but it's being undone. And that's what we have to do. We have to unlearn all this programming. And it's hard and it's scary. And we start losing ourselves, but we never were ourselves anyway. We were our false self. So it's this great undoing that leads to a let go or a surrendering, and then poof, you know, we enter into a state of higher consciousness, and then from there anything can happen. So
yeah,
that's
and
my 2 cents.
I want to share, he keeps saying that we don't really need to constantly be in touch with him and listen to him. We're already masters.
Yeah.
And this is what he wants us to keep focusing in here and keep rising up. You have everything. That's what he's saying.
Yep. Everyone has a guru inside of them. And that's what he calls godliness. Instead of focusing on the guy in the sky, we're all in our own way gods because we're all made of the same stuff.
Exactly.
We're all made of the same stuff, and somehow we developed a personality, right?
It's the ego mind.
Yeah.
We have to lose that ego mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's a little tip. I started doing this. And so when your eyes are closed and you want to focus on something or whatever you're doing, I do this at night too when I'm sleeping, falling asleep. I don't try to look, like when your eyes are closed, you can look at it both eyes, right?
Yeah.
And where does the focus go naturally? It goes to here. Try it.
Yeah.
I never realized it.
Yes.
Your eyes, if you're conscious about it, your eyes will go like this, but
yes.
They really want to be here.
The third eye. Yeah, the third eye.
Yes.
The pineal gland.
Yes.
And you can take your eyes and you can, it's really not the eyes, it's the awareness. And we just think it's our eyes because we think we have eyes because we look in the mirror and we see eyes. But we really have awareness. Call it soul, call it beingness, whatever you want to call it. Most people call it awareness or consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can point that at anything we want. Eyes closed or eyes open. So what you're saying is if we take that awareness and we bring it up to the third eye where the pineal gland is in the forehead, things can start happening. It can tingle, or things can start happening.
This is the window to the galaxies,
Yes.
the window to the soul.
Yes.
And this is the window to this low vibration physical body.
Yeah, I remember studying the pineal gland heavy in my late 20s. That's what kind of got me into all this, and learning how it's like an antenna. It's like one of these cell towers. It's right here in our head, and this little gland is so powerful, and because it's calcified from the food, from the fluoride, from the soda, whatever we grew up with, from the kindergarten class and what they teach us, and it keeps us from our true potential of being what they call in Star Wars as a Jedi. Yeah.
So for all of you out there, it's very easy to decalcify this pineal gland. I started drinking mugwort. This was something that we started drinking in Argentina this year, and you could even smoke it, and it's very profound. And you mix it with yerba mate tea, which has many, many health benefits, and it also contributes to opening up the crown chakra. And I actually had a bag from Argentina. I just finished it. They had Reiki'd it, and they mixed some other herbs in there. It was amazing. You drink a cup of that in the morning with the mugwort, you're flying. So there's also a line I have. It's called Now Alchemy. Very powerful. It's on my website. Crown chakra, open pineal gland, pituitary, all the master glands, just bing, ormus gold, shilajit. There's a detox blend in there, just powerful, powerful alchemy for this ascension. And it's needed now. We need to feed the soul now, not so much the physical body. We have to clean the physical body, and we have to rehydrate and mineralize and oxygenate the physical body. But now the focus is on this pineal gland. It's focusing on this crown. We have to adjust the crowns, and we have to clean them off, and we have to open them up now to receive source. Because we're energy, we're light beings. We're not a physical body. We're a spiritual body having a human experience down in this low vibration.
Right.
And I'm telling you, you asked, we're not leaving just yet. It might be another 10 years. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I don't think it's over. I don't think we can't get to this point and be gone. You know what I mean? So it's going to happen. We're all going to see it. And it's just going to start to just rebirth itself, everything. And money will be gone, and the banks will be gone, and all the dark systems and the governments, and it's going to be a very different structure. It's already happening right now. This is what I tell my group. You've never been controlled. You've been mind controlled to believe that you were controlled, but we're free. We're sovereign now. Right. And we're never going back to that control and that darkness. So none of that nonsense. That's just fear, that we are going to be vaccinated. We got to go on another lockdown. We got to wear these masks. We don't have to do any of that. Right. We don't have to do any of that.
Right.
So
governments are known for social engineering to keep us in line and keep everything in order. And it's a known formula. It's been working for centuries. Everybody
here on this planet right now has something so special, because this is the reason why we were born. We were born to be here during this massive shift and ascension and awakening. And we all play a part. We're all playing a beautiful part, and it's happening. Everybody's awakening. It's beautiful. When we were in Hawaii, we watched a lot of Eckhart Tolle, and we watched the movie. It puts everything into perspective. Like, we watch this over and over again, because it's like...
What movie?
The tiny dot, the tiny blue dot. Did you ever see this?
No.
Oh God. It's one of the best videos to watch. I think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
The tiny blue dot. We are literally a speck in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
A speck.
Oh, I see. They're referring to the Earth.
It's very enlightening and awakening, and it puts everything into perspective.
A lot of things do. Like, why does the ocean look blue? But if you pick up a bucket of it, it ain't blue.
And why is the sky blue?
Right. 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 It's just amazing stuff. A cloud. If you dissect a cloud, the chemistry, it's magical. It's really impressive to learn this stuff and understand. We're caught in two worlds. There's the physical and the metaphysical. And a lot of people don't know that. I call it the inner life and the outer life, just to make it simple for people. But most people don't understand that there is an inner life. There is a soul, if you want to call it that.
And that's the whole message. We don't have to be too concerned if the earth is round, if it's flat, or if the moon is real, if we walked on the moon. That's insignificant.
Right.
The magic right here. We are the magic. We are the world. We are everything. We are the universe.
Right.
And that awakening is so profound.
Yeah. So tell me about the masters. Now, of course, Dr. Morse is, when no one's looking, he talks about it, and he talked about it heavy on episode 49. It's something one of his teachers, Paul Twitchell, that was his work. That, there are beings out there that used to live on Earth like we are, that have ascended. They died physically, but their presence is still able to come help or guide. So they're called all sorts of names. In the Eastern traditions, they're called the Devas. The Devas. And the Buddha, Gautama the Buddha, talked about it when he was dying. He talked about the Devas. He said, I can see the Devas. The Devas are here. Osho talked about, when he was dying, he talked about the Buddha coming to visit him. And of course, Paul Twitchell lays out the whole landscape of it. And Dr. Morse talks about meeting all sorts of guides. Some people might maybe call them angels. We're just playing with words. It's language. So it's easy to get confused with language, right? So what's been your experience with all this over the last however many months?
The only time, once or twice, I saw what I call Jesus. I saw it on the wall. It's happened to me a lot. And I sent you that picture in my bedroom where it's Jesus, and it says, will you remember me? And those eyes the other night that after I hung up with you, they were different. Like, I felt like this picture was alive. It was freaky. But I haven't had anything like so Osho, it's just the presence. I don't have to see him. It's just a presence, and anybody else that I start to put my attention to and call in, and my parents and my brother and my aunt are always with me. And so every night, you're asking and you're thankful and you're speaking to everybody. You have to hear my list of people now that I got to call in. But you're not alone. You're never alone. And we're all being guided now. We're protected. There's nothing toxic or bad going on right now. The focus is on you to turn into yourself now. That's all I keep hearing every day. And they come in with certain messages for certain people. And it's freaky. And I constantly validate it. Because let's say, for instance, I have a message for you, like that message that came that came for you today. And it was like, you just let Kevin know that Kevin is the master. He doesn't have to listen to me anymore. Messages like that come in, and they just come in, and it's just the knowing. And yeah, you can see a lot of things if you start to open up. If anybody here thinks that we are alone, that this is just the human species here, you're wrong. I mean, this place, and right now, Kevin, this place is loaded. It's loaded because this is biblical now. When I take the ormus.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, ormus is an alkaline mineral supplement that people can take, and it helps you, get in touch with yourself. It opens your pineal a little. It's essentially gold. It's something that is in my novel that I wrote many years ago. I wrote a fictional novel called The Making of the Albertan Enigma. And ormus, I got ormus in there. But anyway, continue.
And it connects you and aligns you with spirit, with source, and with your divine power. That's what it does. And I can't explain it because it's different for everybody, but everybody that has tried it, seconds, as soon as it goes in, you feel it. It's just a different being. It's a way of being. It's just a different sensation.
So 2020 has been a very turbulent year society-wise. How are you dealing with it?
So the religions and the race whole wars that's all divide. There is only one source. I call it God. So, but people have different beliefs, but there is no darkness in God. There is no violence and hate and anger. I'm still letting go of, I don't even know what to call it. It's no longer pain. I think it's just the lies, and sometimes it gets me angry because I still see them trying to push their agendas, especially when it comes to the food supply. Like it really upsets me that we have to deal with this toxicity and these poisons. And then the whole divide, the whole race. There is no race. There's no color. We're just all one, and there's no bringing back unity now, and just loving everybody regardless of what their beliefs are. But enough with that violence. I can't watch it. I can't. It's so awful. The rage.
So is it true that Dr. Morse retired? Dr. Robert Morse?
He did.
Does that mean no more videos? I haven't checked.
No, he comes. I think he comes in every now and then to do videos,
okay.
Which is nice.
I have him coming back in a few more episodes, so that should be interesting.
Nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that man.
Yeah.
He's my angel. Right? He's our angel.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Christine? What's the next few years going to look like for you?
Wow. I'm going with the flow. I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be moving forward, where I'm going. I know it's not here in Florida, so we shall see. My dream and my focus is to, open up healing centers and retreat centers and schools and farms, and hopefully in one spot. That's my dream. And just to help everybody. Really, there's so many people suffering right now. So many people suffering. So, but then again, that's that was another test this year. I totally had to disconnect and surrender to other people's sufferings and just do the best I can and share light and hope. And, by sharing our stories, anything is possible to anyone, because we've been through everything. What haven't we been through? Right.
So where can somebody come say hello to you?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm hoping everyone can join the group on Facebook. It's beautiful platform where everybody can come and share and engage and learn and unlearn. And so the website is the simple truths with an s.us.
Can they find you on Instagram as well?
At Soulful Ascension 11.
There it is. Thanks for
I
coming.
love all of you out there. I really do. And I'm praying for everyone. And we are good. We are really good. So there's no worry. Don't worry about anything. And, you know, you get to a point, Kev, and I'm sure you feel this way too, like, it doesn't really matter what's coming. Like, even if we do all cross over, it's okay. But what matters most is this second and this moment right now. If you're in pain and suffering, that's not okay. So I'm just wishing everybody focus inward now and start taking care of your physical bodies and your emotional body and spirit bodies, because we have to get strong now. This is all this old, you know, you sort of have to do like a death of yourself, and you have to just let it go, and you have to start rebirthing and start self-loving.
Have the funeral. Have the funeral.
Yes.
All right.
And
cool.
rebirth, really. There's beautiful masters out there, and beautiful medicinal foods now, and it's very easy to heal, and we could heal from anything. You have to have a will to live, self-love, and that's all it takes.
Right on. All right, Christine, I will talk to you later.
Thanks, love.
Bye.
Bye.
I want to remind you to help support this podcast. Become a member, an exclusive member, on our Patreon page. All you have to do is hit the link in the description, and you'll see a listing of all sorts of options, including the meditations, which are free on Spotify and Apple. Walk the peace path with me and see where it takes you. On the exclusive Patreon page, of course, I give you all sorts of bonus material, plus your donation helps keep the microphone on. All that said, I'll talk to you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Inner Peace with Dr. Reese. If this episode opened your heart, feel free to share on social media and tell your loved ones. Also, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, may peace be with you.